everyone, it's Keira and welcome back to my channel. Now, in Formula 1, we see a lot of incidents where we have a multiple surname on the grid in different eras. And this 99% of the time are drivers and their dads. So that is exactly what today's video is. This is drivers and their dads. I'm going to be talking you through 3 famous driver and dad situations who have all been in Formula 1. I'm going to be talking you through a little bit about their achievements, a little bit about more of their relationship and how they actually were as the father-son relationship, and just how things panned out really. So before I get into this video, if you do enjoy it, please give it a big thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe to my channel down below. But let's just get started on the first driver and dad. So the first pair I'm going to be talking about are Jos Verstappen and Max Verstappen. Probably the two that are most relevant at the moment. Max is currently in Formula 1 and Jos is in and around the paddock, in everyone's business. He is still very much here. So Jos had 106 starts in Formula 1 between 1994 and 2003. So it actually wasn't as long ago as I thought. I don't know why, but I just kind of thought he was in like the late 80s, early 90s, but he was actually into the 2000s. In his maiden year at Benetton, he had 2 third positions, but actually in his whole career, he only got 17 points. So he wasn't the best driver. He was also known for kind of getting in the way a little bit and just kind of being a little bit of a bad driver. However, his son, Max Verstappen, who is currently in Formula 1 at the moment, is a Formula 1 megastar and arguably one of the best young drivers, or no, one of the best drivers on the grid at this current time. He has been in Formula 1 since he was 17 and has done 119 starts, so already he has surpassed his father in 107. And when I tell you, obviously I know things were different back then, but between 107 starts and getting 17 points and then 119 starts and getting 1,162 career points, you can tell who is the better Verstappen. Max has had 42 podiums and 10 wins and is one of the best drivers on the current grid so far. But what about their relationship? What about how it goes? Because we do see a lot about their relationship in the media, but how was it when they were younger? How is it nowadays and stuff like that? So both Jos and Sophie, who is Max's mum, were very hard on Max when growing up. They really pushed him to his full potential. I believe they were both kind of pushed into what they were doing as well, so it kind of is like parent like son. They really pushed him to make sure he was what he was doing, and there are alleged actual physical violence between Jos and Max. So obviously that bit isn't, you know, the best thing. They really pushed him, and to use physical violence on your son, I do think is too far, and I just think that was the type of dad that Jos is and was. Max has said that if he made an error on the karting track, Jos would not speak to him on the way home at all. Like, they'd be going home in their van because they used to travel around in the van through Europe. Jos would not speak to him at all, and even kick him out of the side of the van and just leave him at a petrol station at like the age of like 15. So he'd just leave him on the side of the road, and then Sophie would actually have to come and pick him up. I'd like to think that they are close to home when doing this, because like Sophie can't literally drive however long to go and pick up Max from a petrol station. So it sounds like it was quite a volatile relationship, and it actually almost as if Max was quite scared of his father, because you never heard of any stories of Max kind of standing up to his father. I think he'd done what his dad says, and you know, he tried his best, and you know, it's really unfortunate. I really don't like them dads in karting that are so bad on the sons, because me myself, I was a former swimmer and my mum was really good on me. She wasn't, you know, hard on me if I had a bad race, but you know, I'd see a lot of other parents, and if their, you know, son or daughter didn't have a good race for whatever reason, they would be very, very hard on their children. And for me, it's just, I don't like that, and I've been in that situation before, so I can really empathise with how Max probably was feeling. I feel like this upbringing is kind of how we now see Max in the media, as being quite a blunt person, quite direct, quite like his father. And they do say, you know, like father, like son, and I think that is what's happening here. So, I mean, hopefully Max is probably better when he does have a son himself, and hopefully he doesn't have the acts of Jos. But that is their relationship when they were younger. But nowadays, it does look a lot nicer. They look like they get along a lot more. Obviously, I don't think Jos can really, you know, determine what Max has done anymore, because Max has completely outshone Jos in every single way. I don't think that they really have that kind of authority thing anymore. I think they do get on quite well. Max says he gets on quite well with his father now. They do a lot together. Jos is always there in the paddock. He's always there in the Red Bull garage, and he looks like he's supporting his son, and he looks happy most of the time. So I feel like they do definitely have a better relationship now. I do think they have a very special bond, and I do believe that it will last forever, and I don't believe it's something that will die away now. I do quite think that they are set in their roles in their relationship now, and I think it's kind of up from here. So they did have a tough start, but maybe if he didn't have that tough start, he may not be where he is now. So the next one we're going to be talking about is the one and only Michael Schumacher. I mean, do I even need to say about Michael's records? He is a 7-time Formula 1 world champion. He is you know, the best of the best. He was an amazing driver and just a talent. And Mick Schumacher, who will be stepping up to Formula 1 this year in the Haas car. It is such a shame for Michael not to be able to have witnessed Mick being there because of how amazing Michael was with Mick when he was growing up. Now, firstly, when Mick got into karting, he never actually used his father's surname because he really wanted to get into the sport properly, so he used the surname Bitch, I think. I don't know how to say that without it sounding like it's another word, but it is his mother's maiden name. So straight away he wanted to get into sport, not to disregard his father, but to get in by himself, and he did. And then he eventually adopted the Schumacher name, and it fits perfectly. Now I'm going to read this quote off my laptop from Mick. He said about his father, "I don't take the lessons he passed on me as a matter of course. One of these lessons is to remain constant, never to be too euphoric or too depressed." So it's nice that Mick isn't like, oh, exactly what my father says, I'm going to do exactly that. He has adopted his father's ways into his own driving, and I think that's why Mick has been so successful, because he hasn't just been like, I'm doing this exactly how my dad done it, I'm doing exactly like this. He is doing it how he wants to do it, and look at him, he's in Formula 1. Now, when Mick was younger, Michael originally really did not want Mick to get into motorsport, mainly because of the dangers. It wasn't to do with money, the family are well off. Obviously, Michael is a 7-time world champion, but he really didn't want to get him into motorsport because it is very dangerous. We know, especially with the time that Michael was in when he was racing, it's a very dangerous time. He didn't want Mick to get into motorsport. He was trying very hard to push him into tennis or something like that, but inevitably, things like this just fall into places like this, and Mick got into motor racing. Online, there are so many videos and photos of Michael taking Mick to the racetracks, and the pictures, I don't normally feel, well, I do kind of, you know, I look at pictures of Michael and I think, oh, he's amazing, you know, he's, you know, such a good guy, but actually seeing the pictures of him and Mick, you can see the passion, and you can actually see how happy they are, and you can see the smile on Michael's face, and to see kind of Mick, like at the age of like 4 or however old he was, looking around was just it, that they actually, you know, I feel emotion when I'm looking at them. So once Mick was there, I think Michael really tutored him, and he really made sure that he was careful with him, and, you know, that he brought him into the sport properly. It was very different to how Jos and Max were. There wasn't any of that tension and that, you know, that physical aggression or anything like that. I feel like Michael really brought Mick up properly, and I think that's why you see Mick as such a calm man today. He's such a calm character, and there's just no aggression in him. Obviously when he's on track, he's not an aggressive driver, but you need that aggression in you. But when he's outside of the car, he's just very calm, controlled, knows what he wants to do, and yeah, I think that may be a reflection of his childhood. Now, obviously, Michael's health remains a personal subject. However, there are reports that Michael sometimes is conscious to be able to watch the Formula 1 races. Jean Todt did come out and say he does sometimes sit with Michael in his home in Switzerland and they do watch the Formula 1 races. Whether he has the capacity to actually understand or not, I don't know. As I said, we don't know his health condition. But I do hope that maybe he does have that mental capacity where he will be able to watch his son in Formula 1 this year, because it's just, it would be a dream come true to both Mick and Michael, and for it actually makes me want to cry a little bit. And for Michael to see Mick in Formula 1 now, I mean, that's everything you want for your child. And the last driver and dad I'm going to be talking about is Graham Hill and Damon Hill. So in 1962 and 1968, Graham Hill was the Formula 1 world champion, and he is also the owner of the prestigious, I can't even say that word, the prestigious Triple Crown, which is the 24-hour Le Mans winner, the Indy 500 winner, and the Monaco Grand Prix winner. I mean, even that, just saying that. He really is a true legend, and if you talk about, you know, greats in motorsport going back to when they first started in the 1950s, Graham Hill is always somebody you are going to say, like, he's always going to be in like the top 5. In 1975, at the age of 46, Graham unfortunately passed away when Damon was only 15, and this did have an effect on Damon, and he actually done an interview where he really spoke about the effects on this, and he is probably the one who has spoken most about his father in public and in the media, and it's probably because he isn't here today to be able to, you know, still have them memories. I think when you're reminiscing, you speak a little bit more, and you kind of have a little bit more that comes out. Obviously, Damon is the 1996 Formula 1 world champion, so straight away he is, you know, taking in his footsteps of his father and becoming world champion. Obviously, Mick and Michael could still do that. Mick can still be a potential Formula 1 champion one day. Obviously, Jos and Max can't, because Jos never won the championship. But these two, both amazing world champions. Just to think, I just still think it's crazy that a father and then a son can both be Formula 1 champions. It's just amazing. Now, I'm not really sure how close Damon and his father were. I feel like Damon knew that there were very, you know, two different sides of his father. One side of it was a very laughy, jokey man, but on the other side was a very serious man, and you wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of him. He lived this luscious lifestyle of a Formula 1 world champion, as you would, you know, as you would. But I don't know how close their bond was. I feel like when they were together, they did have some good times, but I think his dad was always jetting off different places, and he was never really with him, and I feel like Damon would have really wanted more time with him, but he didn't have it. And one of the biggest things is Damon actually said without his father's death, which was unfortunately in a helicopter crash, he doesn't think he would have been a racing driver ever. Like, he doesn't think he would have taken up that sport, I think he would have stepped away from motorsport, you know, if his dad was in it. And it's weird, you think it was the other way around, but actually because of his father's death, he stepped into motorsport. He felt a duty to kind of carry on his father's legacy and do what his father would have wanted him to have done, and that is exactly what he done. And as I said, 1996 world champion. I don't believe they had a bad relationship. I just believe that, you know, when they were together they had a good time, but I feel like Damon probably wanted a little more time with his father when he was younger, and I feel like if Graham would to have lived to his full lifetime, I feel like they definitely would have had a different relationship, and obviously Damon would have grown older than just 15. As we know, 15 is the age when you are growing into a man, so, you know, they would have definitely grown a different relationship and probably had a better one when they were older, but unfortunately that was never able to happen. But Damon is a Sky Sports pundit. He always speaks so highly of his father. It's amazing to see how nicely he speaks of him, as he should, because, you know, Graham's amazing, Damon's amazing, and it would have been so nice to have seen how their relationship would have been now. So there we have it. That is it for today's video. I hope you did enjoy this video, and if you do want a part 2, then let me know. I've got other drivers and dads I would love to do. If you've got any suggestions, please leave them down below. But yeah, thank you again for watching this video. Again, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, all of that lovely stuff, and I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.